Don't take yourself seriously, but be serious with yourself. As has been said, we will awaken when we realize that the self we think we are is just a dream. It is a story we tell ourselves with thoughts about ourselves. Waking up from this dream does not mean that the dreaming self disappears. This self is a construct of society and is therefore a dependent self on the society that created it. He's a robot that reacts to life, so it will take some time for him to calm down. However, we need part of this self to function in life. Taking care of the responsibilities in our lives requires someone in our mind to be the organizing and executing agent. But we need not believe that this self is anything more than a pawn we use on the chessboard of life. It will be the character we play in this life. We will treat this self as a character is treated by an actor on stage. The actor knows that he is not the character he is playing, but still his job is to act. This is exactly how we will view the decisions we make for ourselves in our lives. We will play the role of the employee, the boss, the husband, the wife, etc. But we will not believe that it is true. If we awaken, we will understand that the reason for the suffering of this life was nothing but this socially constructed character that we thought we were. This sense of this illusory self made us feel separate from other people and the universe. In the feeling of isolation from others, we feel loneliness. We feel that something is missing from our lives. We sought fulfillment by trying to acquire relationships, things, luxuries, and possessions. But when we woke up from the novel that our mind told us every day with its endless monologue, we realized that what we were looking for was what we are aware of in our consciousness, and not what our mind has convinced us to be. The challenge now is what to do with our new and reborn selves. But it's a new and fine life now. Everything looks brighter, fresher, and every moment is heaven. But there are challenges and temptations there too. It is time to practice what the ancients said. Pan metron ariston, everything in moderation, as said by Cleobulus of Lindia. In the world of spiritual seeking, there is a delicate balance between seriousness and humor. Understanding this balance can transform how we navigate life's complexities. Being serious about ourselves doesn't mean being rigid. It invites a deep exploration of who we really are, beyond our personalities and the roles we play. It's about honesty in our self-inquiry. However, there is a playful aspect to this journey. Not taking ourselves too seriously allows us to move through life with more grace and flexibility. It encourages laughter in our learning. This approach does not diminish the value of our efforts for personal development. Instead, it enhances it by removing the pressure of perfectionism, making the process more enjoyable and sustainable. Imagine facing life's challenges with a smile. This does not mean ignoring our problems, but rather recognizing them without letting them define us. It is a liberating way of life. By not taking ourselves too seriously, we open the door to creativity. We allow ourselves to experiment, try, and sometimes fail without harsh judgment. This is where growth happens. Seriousness brings concentration and dedication. It is the fuel that propels us to deepen our understanding of our spiritual quest, to meditate, and to practice awareness with intention. However, it is in the moments of laughter and lightness that we often gain the deepest insights. These moments remind us not to cling too tightly to any idea, certainly not in the idea that there is a permanent self inside our heads. The dance between these two aspects is delicate. Too much seriousness can lead to exhaustion and frustration, while too much lightness can breed complacency and frivolity. Finding our unique balance is key. It requires listening carefully to our inner experiences and recognizing when to push forward and when to pull back and laugh. By embracing this balance, we discover a path that is both profound and delightful. It is a journey that brings us closer to the true essence of the spiritual quest. Let's commit to being serious about ourselves, but not taking ourselves too seriously. In doing so, we unlock a deeper, happier, and more genuine way of being in the world. We don't take ourselves too seriously, recognizing that the conceptual self or ego is ultimately a constructed narrative, not to be attached to or realized as absolute truth. But being serious about ourselves, while we don't over-identify with the ego itself, we can realistically relate to it as a conventional personality that allows us to function and engage with the world skillfully. And for the tasks to be performed, the self can serve as a practical asset from which we can assume responsibilities, pursue goals, and perform our necessary tasks in life without being burdened by excessive self-esteem. This harmonizes the wisdom of not believing too much in ego drama while respecting the conventional need for a functioning self to function in the world. It is about using the self lightly as a tool or personality without being enslaved by its demands and delusions. By not taking ourselves too seriously, we can avoid much of the anxiety, fear, and suffering that comes from inflated egos and clinging to a fixed, separate self. And by being serious or diligent about our duties and responsibilities through the prism of the conventional self, we can still live meaningful, committed lives. It is a middle ground, neither dissolving the self completely in a kind of narcissistic nihilism, nor fixing it in an unquestionable, onerous absolute. A liberated and joyous appreciation of the purposeful yet transitory nature of the self.